From birth, Tara had an infectious dimple grin that captivated the hearts of many, including her two godparents, the late Millicent Connor, who we have to thank for that unique name, Tamsin, and Lavon Taylor Nisbet, who claimed her as her first child. As an infant and toddler, Tara was very curious, aka fast, and made it her own business to get to know everybody she encountered. She had the habit of standing by the window of the house looking out and calling out to everyone who passes up or down the road. It was a hey, accompanied by bouts of laughter. It is no wonder that of all of Margaret's children, most people seem to only remember Tara or Taya, depending on who you spoke to. No one remembers Margaret's last two children up to this day. Her early childhood years were just as exciting. At first, Tara was a part of the late Jane Leibert's daycare crew. Then she enrolled in the infamous Teacher Orvis preschool. For those of you who don't know about Teacher Orvis School, it's a preschool where almost every child in Saddlers has attended. She rounded out her early childhood years at the Baptist preschool in Lodge Village. Oh, days of riding Mr. Salter's little car. At this school, she was taught by teachers such as Renee, Sandra, and Beverly, who left lasting impressions on her life and fostered her love for the early childhood. Her years spent at Saddlers Primary, or Saddlers All-Age School, as it was called back then, was filled with adventure and excitement. Tara was a popular girl and gained many friends who affectionately called her Mega, thanks lever, as she was not only blessed with a mega grin, but what we call the Flanders nose. Even those who, to most, the name might be insulting, Tara embraced that name to the fullest and answered it confidently. This was a testament to her character. She always strived to find the good in the negative. It was also in primary school that some of Tara's deepest lifelong friendship and ties to Saddlers Village were formed. It was there friendship with persons such as Geisha Henry, Aisha Charles Bell, Clarice Langley Stevens, Glennis Henry, aka Coco Joe, who can be identified as her first true crush, but that's another story for another time. And a few others were nurtured which blossomed into their adulthood. The trend of gaining deep lifelong friendship continued for Tara throughout her school. At Kenyon High School, Tara became close friends with people such as Amanda Jeffrey, aka Muma, Veron and Abina, high school sweethearts, and Emma Jolly, the only white girl in the crew. I wonder what she is up to now. Tara's ability to make friends pretty much overshadowed her need to be a scholar. Her attitude to schoolwork was more nonchalant. In other words, she was content to do the bare minimum, as she would say, work smart, not hard. I can distinctly remember when Tara came home with a report card shouting happily that she came second. When her mother looked at the card, she was like, but Tara, if you come second with those grades, them people behind you had nothing. Tara happily reminded her that who behind her don't matter, the fact remains she came second. As she left high school and ventured into adulthood, Tara went through a period of growing pains where she embarked on a path to find herself. Career-wise, she was unsure what she wanted to do, but took a job at Judith's Grocery in Newtown. Her infectious personality Her desire to help others and her discipline on the job soon made this country girl a popular town girl. She moved on to work at the Rams, and her large personality and love for helping people, especially the old and young, particularly made her a household name. She knew everybody. It was very hard to walk in town with Tara. It was as if for every inch you walked, 3 friends pop up, either to pound story or just to shout out. It was amazing to see how she had specified greetings to specific persons, so when they would meet up recitation would start. I could remember she had one with this older man who people might look down as a drunkard. She would say, "Hey," calling the man by his name. "How things? You still love me?" He would say, "Girl," all the time. "You still want to marry me?" He would say, "I do, I do." She would say, "Remember, I want fresh flowers and not any plastic one." He would say, "Only the best for you, my love." And then they would burst into laughing. However, through trial and error, Tara was able to find her way. When she was hired by the Early Childhood Unit in January 2006, a spark was lit in Tara. She had found her calling. Her excitement over her children and classroom was awe-inspiring. Tara would spend entire Sunday preparing work plans and worksheets for the upcoming work week. Child Month and the summer period was when Tara's creativity came fully alive. She would spend hours creating costumes for children for Child Month and items for decorating the class. She would bombard us with all her ideas. She would have us cutting, gluing, and coloring her works of art. The dining table was her office, and the dining room was her headquarters for her magic. She loved her students and was always willing to go the extra mile for them. It was not uncommon for her to bring home one of her students. We would say, "Tara, where would this one be?" She would start with a story about who the child's mother and father be until she reached who the child be, and by the time the parents collected the child, you know, the parent and the child's life story. Not only did Tara build a bond with her students and bonded with many parents, the love for teaching Tara was manifested whether by a loud shout or her name or hug in public by a student. On Teachers' Appreciation Day, it was the norm to see Tara coming home with huge gift baskets, while Sasha and Kyle would be lucky to get a malt. Graduation day again, so parents showed their appreciation for Tara with even more gifts. In 2007, Tara became a mother to her first son, Iquante, and her drive to improve her life was heightened. She started taking classes and was bent on improving her education level. Throughout her journey, she gave birth to 2 more sons, Imani in 2010 and Joshua in 2016. The birth of her children further propelled her to continue, and so it was a godsend when the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College began to offer a program in early childhood. In 2019, Tara delightfully enrolled in the associate's degree in early childhood at CFBC. She was so happy when she got the acceptance letter, and so was the entire family. With the help and support of family and friends, she was able to complete the first year and was well on her way to complete her second year when she was given the heartbreaking news that she had cancer. The news was devastating. The news was a devastating blow, and to her, not because of the threat of death, the threat of death, but because she had to quit school and to focus on fighting the disease. On many occasions while on treatment, she would always speak about beating the disease so she can go back to school and finish her courses. Sometimes she would say, "Girl, all like now, I in classroom doing my practicum." She had so many ideas as to how she would go about teaching, but the twisted nature of cancer robbed her of accomplishing her goal. Nevertheless, we remain grateful that Tara had 38 years to bless us with her presence, bless us with her smile, bless us with love, and blessed us with affection. The love Tara showed was never built on fakeness, but rather built on genuine foundation. Once you became a friend of Tara, you became a friend for life. Tara, we will miss you. Your children will miss you. We will cherish your memories. Sleep on, Tara, and let it be known that it is well. And to you, sis, I say, go rest high on that mountain. Sis, your work on earth is done. Go to heaven a shouting before the Father and the Son.